Hello, and thank you for choosing my section of Creating a Diverse Library Collection. My name is Miss Muhammad, but I'm affectionately known as DJ by my friends. So, Miss Muhammad or DJ, or if you follow me on any social media platform, I'm known as Miss Callie and GA. It was my intent to be there virtually in person with you guys, but I had some scheduling issues pop up. So, I'm going to try to make this feel as though I'm actually there with you and hope that this goes smoothly. Um, so let's get started. Does it already feel like I'm there? Like this is happening live? I hope so. So anyway, a little bit about myself. Like I said, my name is Miss Muhammad. My first name is Janeva. My friends call me DJ. I often get called Miss Callie NGA if I'm at some sort of library convention or something like that. But I was a classroom teacher for a couple of years before I transitioned. Oh wait, I forgot to set my timer. Oh my gosh. So I want to stay in 25 minutes. So it has started. Okay. So how I became Oh, wait, so I was a teacher and transitioned into the school library. I don't want to ramble because I will. I want to talk about how I became passionate about creating diverse library collections. Because I've always kind of been important to me because like with kids, friends, or my siblings or my own child, I would always make sure to buy books. I've always been a reader, but books where they can see themselves in the stories, characters that look like them and stories that look like them. And it got a little deeper when I started coming into the classroom and taking my kids to the library. And I also had a classroom library, but I made sure it was little that whatever whatever population was in my classroom, there were books that matched it in my classroom library. So I've kind of always been big on it. And one of my favorite activities was, if you didn't know, every culture has a Cinderella story or some spin of a Cinderella story. So we used to always do a book story, and the parents loved it, the kids loved it, the whole school thought it was really cool. And then I didn't even know half these stories existed. So if you want to start somewhere into a window of that, start with the Cinderella versions of different cultures. Um, when I sat down to do this presentation, because like I said, I've been passionate about this for a while. I already had a presentation when I did a webinar and I was trying to go in and revamp it, but then I was like, the information is so good and it was so tedious trying to pause and play and go back to my articles and everything to discuss the importance. I just thought, what the heck? I'm just going to plop that video into the next slide because it's why mess it up? It's a good thing. The information is valid. Now, the only thing I will say before we go to the video is that I am painstakingly trying to enunciate my words. So it's a little dry and robotic. It's not as colorful as I am here. So it's a little dry and the graphics are a little dated, but the information is still stands true to today. Um, I'm going to edit a video at the end of the webinar that I'm going to plop on here, just like for me to, if there's any updates I need to speak on from the video or at the end, I'll update, share my contact information, and answer any questions that I'm going to be tuned in with you and guests that you might ask. All that will be wrapped up after we watch the video. Now, remember, it's a little dry, but the information still stands. And just stay with me. And then this me will pop back in after the video. So the video is 12 minutes long. It's not that long, and it's jam-packed of information. So let's get to it. You guys made it through the video and we're back. So there's a few things that I want to add to the video you just saw. The first thing is when it talked about knowing your population and how to gather the information. I am located in Georgia, so I know that I gave you the link. Sorry, I'm going to resume the timer. I know I shared the U.S. Census website, but I also showed the Georgia Department of Education website. So if you're in, I don't know, Tennessee, you're not going to go to our website to find your school. So just whatever your state's Department of Education webpage is, go there and it should have all the stats on your school. The second thing I wanted to touch on that I didn't really expound on in that webinar is the importance of accurate cultural representation. And what I mean by that is there's always a certain authority of the author to share certain stories. For instance, I am obsessed with the Quaker lifestyle, totally obsessed with it, love it. Now, that don't mean I should write a book about it because no matter what my intentions are, no matter how much research I've done, there's always going to be something that is not authentic from me because it's not my story. And why not allow someone from the community to share their story or tell their story because it's their story? So that's what I mean by the authority to tell stories. Now, I'm laughing because the next example I'm going to use, you can see from the pictures, and if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen this. It's not a rant, but it's where I know something I noticed first in my library collection. So, with regards to the authority to tell stories, and no matter how good our intent is, this is a photo of Anne. I know I'm messing up her last name, I'm butchering it. Before I go into the story, I know like Beyonce has the beehive. I don't know if Anne has an Anne hive, but I don't want no smoke. I just want to use this as an example, so I'm going to be real quick with this example of what I mean by authority. This is Anne. This is a short bio of Anne's life. And these are books that Anne has written. Now, if you look at these titles, for me, the characters look nefarious. Like, they don't look happy. They're not skipping through fields. They look, I will clutch my purse. But she has a niche where she writes books about. Now, granted, she did teach in California, does, but it was in San Diego. But she writes books on inner city Black and Hispanic and Latino children. Anne was born in Ohio and taught in San Diego. So her intentions might be well, but is Anne the best person to tell these stories when there are other BIPOC authors that can tell these stories because they're familiar with the culture or and not all. If I didn't know any better, say if I was an alien just landed here on Earth and I fell into a pile of Miss Anne's books, I would be scared of people that look like the people on this cover. I wouldn't. I'd be like, oh no, they are bad. Don't go because just what the books are telling me, and so or even what they're representative. If you just looked at the covers, and then you go out into the world to see people that look similar to the people on the cover, and you're instantly clutching your bag too, like, oh, let me cross the street. So anyway, that's an example, and if clearly I've making it a big thing just so you can feel what I'm trying to say. But just as you go through your collection, just it's layers to it. So yes, you see, oh, this is a story about a Hawaiian family, but then did someone from Hawaii write the story? You have to look at the author as the next level. So just be mindful also of the authority of the author to tell these stories. Also, if you get your books from Follett, they have an amazing new diversity measurement tool, which was look at your collection and tell you like, hey, you have 0.02% of African American book titles in your 20,000 collection, or you have 0.004 Asian Pacific Islander stories in your thing. So it will tell you um, the breakdown of your collection if you use Follett. And I'm not sure about the other book vendors, but Follett definitely has it. But it's sorted by topic, so still need to be mindful of the authority of the author to tell those stories. Um, Questions that I think you might have, aside from I'm going to put all my contact information around here. Where to start? It's like, this is heavy, sis. This is a lot. So the first place is just being aware. Because when I did my mentorship, my internship at a library, she was an amazing African American librarian. She worked at a school that was predominantly white. They had then the next group was African American, a small Hispanic, and then a few Asians. But library was beautiful. But then part of my intern I did looked at the population of her student body and ran a report to see how many of that population was represented in her collection, and they were poorly represented in the collection, the other subgroups in the school or the other population in the school. So it's just all kids benefit from being exposed to a diverse. I'm trying to, because I have like 3 minutes. I know I'm mumbling, but it's important for all children to be exposed to different cultures. Um, And sometimes it's just an awareness because she had no idea. Heck, I had no idea because it was an amazing library, right? All these great stories, but just an awareness. So just start by being aware. I'm not saying to go throw the books off your shelf or be like, oh my gosh, what is this? But just be aware. And like before, if you haven't made your big book orders this year, maybe just be a little more aware when you make your orders. But I would just say, start with the purest of intentions, be aware, and know your population. I cannot say that I can't be any clearer than that. Know your population. But if you're like, well, Janeba, what if I work at a school and it's 99%? I'm a white person, white librarian. I'm sorry, that came out wrong. And my school is 99% white. And all the books in my collection are for white Americans. They look like the people in my school. You have a nice point. But what a wonderful thing it would be if because that might have been Anne's situation. And that's how Anne got to write these books, because maybe she wasn't exposed to authentic BIPOC stories written by authentic authors who have the authority to tell those stories. So just be mindful of that exposure. So if you are working, if that is your demographics, those are your demographics. Just infuse it with some diversity, and everybody will benefit from that. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me. In the subject line, just put #boss librarian, so I can know that those questions are coming from there and not just like random out of space or something. We're at 24 minutes. Thank you so much for spending this 25 minutes with me. I hope that you guys have learned so much in the other sessions. I'm going to watch all the other sessions, and I hope the rest of your day is amazing. And I wish for you a beautiful um, next week. And make sure you follow me on all platforms at Miss_Callie. I'm trying to say it with underscores. It sounds weird. Miss Callie and GA. So Miss_Callie_N_GA. The name is because I'm from California and I'm now in Georgia. You guys have an amazing day, and thanks for tuning in. Bye.